Hey guys, it's FrostZTech here today with an all new video, and today we'll be talking about how you can create a Plexus intro. And Plexus intro do require that you purchase Plexus from Robyte, and it's given on below in description. You can get it from down there, and make sure to like and subscribe. That's gonna help me a lot. That getting said, let's get started. So first of all we need to do is to open up Adobe After FX, whatever version you're having, but all you need to do is to have Plexus. So let's go to not to project, but effect control or project. You just simply start off by clicking on create a new composition, and it's up to you what settings you want. I just got this from 30 to 10. I don't want that for too much, and make sure that it's 29.97 pixels, and yes, frame rate. And it's up to you that whatever pixel you want. It's 1080, 1920, and 19080, and I'm gonna name this as render. Okay, that's got pretty much. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so first of all thing we need to do is to create a new solid. So for that you can simply go to layer, new and solid, or press Ctrl+Y, or simply right click here and go to new and solid. And I'm gonna name this as BG. BG means background, or you can simply type as background, and let's click OK. And here what is it that we're gonna create a background for all of the things you need. So it's up to you. You want to use a gradient ramp or something, but I'm gonna, in case of mine, I'm gonna use a 4-color gradient. Let's press 4-color gradient and remove. So, and why I use this, because it's much better than that we're using from the gradient ramp, because it does not do the much we want. Okay, so either in this case if you want, so you can do so, and if you don't, you can either use a gradient ramp and place the main light source from up there and start it off. So I'm going to use this color point 1, which is yellow, and I'm going to make it complete black. And similarly, not for this one, pink, I'm going to make it black, and for blue I'm going to make it black. And that's going to leave us with green one, and I'm going to change this color to a little bit of blue, like kind of like this, and I'm going to make it a little bit light, not like this. Okay, that looks pretty much well. And now you can see that we're having a little too much blackness here, so we got to adjust it out. So how we're gonna do that is that I'm gonna make this point a bit closer here, so the light source come closer, and I'm gonna use this color 3 point and check where it is, and it's right about here. So I'm gonna use pick color, and let's make it a bit dark one. And the same for this, I'm gonna use this and pick color from here and pick color from here, and this is gonna lighten up. So I'm gonna go back to these settings, and I'm gonna darken them a little bit, kind of like so, and let's pick it up from here only a little bit more, kind of like this. Okay, so that's pretty much well. And now let's just move this point a bit backward, because we do not need that much shine out here, and like this would be best. So the next thing we gotta do is to create a Plexus layer. So how we can do that is simply press Ctrl+Y to make a new solid, and I'm gonna name this as Plexus. Okay, so that's gonna do the work, and hit enter. Do not mind for this black background, we're gonna replace it out, and simply go to here and type in Plexus, which you can directly go from right clicking here, go to Effect, Robyte, and Plexus. It's up to you which one you want. I'm gonna use this and place it up here. You can simply place it on the layer, and we use that, and okay, that's done. So the next thing we gotta do is all up here. So here comes the best part. The thing which you can do out here is a lot of things which you can. Okay, so first of all I'm gonna open up GPU accelerated rendering, because I do want that rendering one. And the best thing I'm gonna tell you today is a tip, extra tip. Simply go on to Chrome, and you can search for any model you want. I'm gonna, in case just you've seen on YouTube or anywhere else, I'm gonna type in deer OBJ, that you can get deer 3D model, or also like this. So let's try that on here and here. In case I'm gonna use low poly, or you can go for this one, which is much higher, better, and of much better quality. So I'm gonna show you on both. So first of all, let me download this, and I'm gonna come back when it's done. Okay, so that's all done, and now what we're gonna do is we got 2 raw files from there, and I'm gonna extract both of them. So I'm gonna first of all block them out, so we do not get any other issues. Or you can simply go to their properties and check unblock, apply, and okay. So let's select these both, right click and extract files, and okay. So there we are with, where it is, desktop, deer, and we gotta get two things. We gotta get a DAE file. Let's check which is this. Okay, it's DAE. I'm gonna name this DAE to OBJ and check this if it might work out. I do not guarantee it, but still you can try this out. This is an extra tip if you want. Why I'm showing this is because I have seen people searching for these of all things. So let's make a new composition to show you, and I'm gonna make another solid. Simply press Ctrl+Y to make it out, or you can simply get from there. And I'm gonna type the name is deer and make a Plexus effect on it. And instead of placing geometry in primitives, I'm gonna use an OBJ, and from here Plexus OBJ object, import OBJ, and from here open the file which you need. First of all, let me show you on how we can open up desktop a low poly model. This one's the low poly one, and I'm gonna open it out, and okay. And from here you can see I got a model for it. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna increase the opacity to 100%, and this point size I'm gonna make it to 2.5, and that's gonna do the work. And let's go down, and object I'm gonna use to transform OBJ, and I'm gonna scale up. I'm not gonna scale up, but I'm gonna rotate x-axis, which will make it a completely one. I'm gonna replace it about 180 degree. And now let's do another thing, which is to create a camera. I'm gonna do camera and 30mm camera, and use the camera orbit tool to search around, and you can see we got a 3D model in Plexus mode. And how you can make that is to simply import any object you're having. So it's up to you. It's just a tip for you how you can move things around and all that. That looks pretty much well, but still you can scale this up. For example, OBJ scale, but that will destroy it completely. I don't know, pretty much. And let's make it back 100, and let's try it on the other one. So I'm gonna reset, and I'm gonna click on this and import OBJ and open. And instead of this, let's check this one out if it is working. I do not think it's gonna work. Yet it won't. So forget about it. It was just a tip for you, and if you can check this out, it's up to you how you want to use that. It just was a tip for you. Okay, so let's get back on the project. So what we're gonna do here is that I'm gonna use, where we used object, I'm gonna use primitives, and that's gonna show something like this. And if you really do have worked with trap code, then it's gonna seem familiar. Let's do the camera, and I'm gonna use another camera, and let's make it cam1. Hit OK, and now you can scroll around and see the primitives that you're getting. And so let's edit this. Go to Plexus, and using effector, make sure the effector is noise. Don't mind that, it's gonna add a Plexus noise effector here, and go to renderer, and I'm gonna make this as triangulation, and that's gonna render triangles. But do make sure that rendering this much triangles can cause serious performance issue. So let's go down back here, and instead of using 10 nearest triangles, I'm going to use this as 1, and that's going to decrease the number of triangles that we are having. For example, mine not having a good GPU and all that, so it's going to lag a lot, but we're going to fix it up when we will be rendering the video. So let's go out here, and instead of getting color from the vertices, you can see triangulation renderer, and instead of getting color from the vertices, just uncheck this box, and it's going to show you the color. Just change this color of anyone you want. For example, I'm going to use a light green. That's all you all do, I know that. And if you zoom in either, we can see, let me make the harder to full, and we can see that we are having these dots. All I need, I do not want any performance issues, so I'm going to switch it back to quarter. And the next thing we got to do is that we're going to use the keyframes to animate it, but instead, first of all, let's check how much noise amplitude we can gain and how much it can be formed. So like this. So I'm going to make that switch back to 0, and instead of using one triangle, I'm going to make it 2. So I'm going to get a lot more. And here, using a nice noise amplitude, let's increase the noise amplitude somewhat like this. More you want, wait, kind of like, so this one should be enough. And now we are having camera, so let's switch up the camera, and you can use the track Z camera tool, or simply press C triple times when you get, and let's increase the Z to the extent we want. and go back to Plexus. We need more noise. I'm going to increase the noise amplitude kinda like so, and now use the orbit camera tool to switch around whichever place you want. Like for example, if my text renders here, I'm going to use it up here only. For example, I'm going to be typing text here, and okay. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to use a text to cover this up, and go to meta text new. It's new usually font you want, but it's a great font, Champagne and Limousine. It's given below in description. Just type in here, for example, FrostZTech, and I'm gonna now decrease the font in 115. It's about, I'm going to decrease the font again, for example, to switch this up perfectly. Plus, and now I'm going to use the move tool to adjust it in whatever way you want. Okay, so what we are having here is simply nothing of 10 seconds, but it just goes like this and off. So the next thing we can do is click on the Plexus layer, and we need a keyframe on noise amplitude. Okay, so click on the keyframe noise amplitude and move to about 10 seconds, and let's increase the noise till where you want. And yes, you can use the camera tool again and again in case you want something to don't want to be messed up. For example, you want some particles to be remained. And now if we go back, it seems kind of like this. Okay, so there are a lot of things to do. You can say apply noise to axis. That doesn't mean a lot to us. Now let's check what things we can get. And now what we can see is this simply going up here and pressing 0 to render the whole video, and we can see we're getting this cool nice effect. And the next thing I'm gonna do is that I'm getting a little bit means low polys around here, so I'm gonna use the camera tool again and switch it around somewhere where it fits much more better. So maybe where I have much space. For example, if I get it up here and move this text to down here to make it a space, and let's check this out how this feels. And that's pretty much well, that does the work. And we're having these, you can see if I drag this down here, and here we can see that we're having corners, or you can see vertices of white color. You can, or if you want, you can still change their colors. For example, going off primitive object, and we're having these, and switching up them from here can still make them change their color, but that doesn't feel good, so I'm gonna make it that white only. And you can still try it out with any of the color you want, for example red to purple to blue to any other thing that might suit you. The red doesn't seems like we're getting chicken pox or something, but I'm gonna make that only to white. And still there are thousands of things you can do. For example, from nearest triangulation you can do mesh triangulation. That mesh triangulation looks like something else, but it still doesn't render to be much effective and doesn't looks good because of this. So I'm gonna make this nearest triangles, and that's gonna do the work. And the best thing that you can do is to increasing the number of triangles if you want more. And outer surface doesn't seem so well because it changes all the surfaces of the triangle to inward, and we're going to make this back again. And the next thing we can do is that we can open the depth of field, and let's change this depth of field to camera setting, but do make sure that you are having yes, but do make sure that you are having this where it is GPU accelerated rendering on, and make this OpenGL only, and after no polygons, that's going to remove all of them. And blur factor, and it's up to blur quality you want. For example, if I turn this 2x, that doesn't gonna work. Because of why? Because we do not have a camera on. So let's go to camera. The camera we created, if you don't have one, you can create it and press 2 times A on your keyboard, A, and you can see depth of field, and turn that to on, Okay, so we're gonna fix up things here, and how you're gonna do that is to change the focus distance. For example, let's change aperture to 100, and let's make focus distance to 400. Now it's up to you. You're gonna fix up or on which resolution you are working. For example, make this to 1000, 2000, and I'm gonna make this to 4000. Okay, that's really vanishes out of the way. Never mind for that. And press AA again. And the focus distance, we need to aperture till the time we get it perfect. And when I decrease it, how am I getting? Let's decrease the focus distance and increase the focus distance. Okay, so this suits best on me, and I just decreased the blur levels to make it perfectly work, and I increased the focus distance so that I could focus more further, and I increased the aperture to the extent that would work. So for up here it suits to 5 seconds, and let's decrease this to up to 5 seconds. For example, like this much would be perfect, and now the render will be dealt only to 5% only, or 5 seconds only. So that's how you can do. It's up to you on how you can test out. For example, if you want to test out on things in text, you can simply click on the text and make a new solid. For example, like this, I'm gonna make this as element 3D, but this is an example. You can, if you do not have the element 3D plugin, this is not gonna work. For example, if I type in element and then use this element 3D layer on here, and I just applied it for, and let's make this text hidden, and let's go to element 3D and go to custom layers, custom text and all, and make this FrostZTech is all about Tech Plus. And let's go back here and go to scene setup and click on extrude to extrude the layer out of the text wherever it's been written. Okay, so it's here, and let's disable the grid because I do not want that. And you can see up here in the text we are having this awkward looking text. The text looks pretty much better there, but here it looks pretty much awkward. So how you can fix that? First of all, go to extrusion mode, go to bevel and extrude it a bit more so it looks a bit 1.5, and expand edges. That's what we need to do. That's all we need to do, just expand a bit of edges so that they gain a lot more. You can simply see it out on wireframe, whatever things you're getting. But you can see that A and these objects are having much more density than other than. Let's go back to shader, but we do not need too much. So let's increase a bit of bevel size so that the corner looks pretty much well. You can see at the corner up here it's closing out. To get element 3, you can simply go to video copilot and buy it from there, and let's use something with a bevel outline. We do not need that, and you can still diffuse something. For example, I'm having a texture with me that's gonna look pretty much well on it, but I don't think so. It's a noise texture that will destroy its look. Probably decreasing the look, for example something like this, but that's gonna give me completely chroma, and a bit like this will be enough to make a complete solid look. Okay, and when we see it in closer, we are having that texture up on it, and you can decrease the opacity of the texture so that it looks pretty much well. And then the diffuse color is up to you which color you want the text to be of. I'm gonna make it purple white, and this is what we're thinking of, is the intensity of reflectivity that we can get. So it's up to you which environment you're using. For example, you're using some another environment. There are several environments out here. For example, this one is a pretty much shiny one. It's up to you. I'm gonna make this color a bit of greenish, and let's increase like this so that looks pretty much well with the environment out there. And yes, it's illumination. We can use diffuse color to illuminate with the same color we did have before, and increasing the intensity we cause it to illuminate, but I do not want illumination because that's gonna remove this green color. Okay, that's pretty much well, and the blend mode is up to you if you want to do that, but it's of no use here. And we can still apply some AO to it. You need what ambient occlusion, and if we show AO we can get all the things that we're getting. For example, this high texturing environment, just turn off the draft texture and click on this, okay, and set it okay. Now sometimes element 3 doesn't show up over here. You can simply go to group 1 of whatever group has been assigned to, go to particle look. So I finally adjusted it all, and you can still click out somewhere else and move it a bit of like this, and the layer is completely filled up, and still you can change a lot on the text, going to scene setup and doing a lot of things. Is up to you. Now let's go back here and go to render settings and go to physical environment, and you can increase the exposure to lighten it up and increase the gamma for giving it a better contrast. And in case I'm going to decrease the gamma, it's causing too much exposure of light. I'm going to decrease the exposure of light. No, I'm going to increase it up. For example, 1.23 would be enough, or 1.42. That looks pretty much well. I'm gonna do gamma as 0.9 and tint, and okay, lighting influence and override layer show in BG. We do not want that show in BG because that's gonna show the background. We can still rotate environment. This is the best thing I have ever seen in this. For example, if you want to show the background here, for example, I'm going to show in BG, that means show in background, and rotate the background in case like you want, which shows the best quality of light. So I'm rotating more, something like this. Okay, this looks pretty much well, and I'm going to remove the background again because I do not need it. And now remove the and go to lighting. Lighting is of no use to us, and shadows. Now the best part is ambient occlusion. Now enabling ambient occlusion is gonna take a lot of memory, and it's gonna lag a lot of. So I'm gonna enable AO, and instead of doing a lot of things, just simply go to quality and make it medium. It's up to you if you want to more, and go to advanced settings, and that's cutoff. You can increase the matte intensity in case I'm gonna use it here a bit of to make the matte looks pretty much well. And I'm gonna go back, and then I'm gonna go to reflection. The reflection is already done, so I'm gonna make this quality from will be normal only. I don't want it more. And let's go to depth of field. Depth of field already set, so we do not need this again. Okay, so that's gonna do the work, and let's make sure it is full render. And okay, that's pretty much done well. So let's look how it looks. Okay, so let's check this out. It looks pretty well, and to make it more good, you can add background effects, or you can add sound effect. Do make sure this is full render done, and finally you can render your video. That's gonna look pretty much perfect. And finally we're up to the last point. If you want this, you can get this below in the description. You can purchase this element 3D from Video Copilot, and final time comes where we have to render this video. So let's check this how we can render. Okay, so that's nothing of use to us, and let's make sure it's all done perfect. And let's first of all save the file because we do not need this to be controlled off, and I'm going to use this as tutorial and save it. Okay, so there are two ways to render a video in Adobe After FX. If you do not have Adobe Media Encoder, then it's gonna be a problem for you, because Adobe After Effects completely renders video but makes them about 2.6 GB or something. You can go to composition and add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. Or if you do not have Adobe Media Encoder, just add to render queue, and that's gonna open up the render queue here, and you can render it out. But do make sure to think about it again, because that's gonna completely check this out, and it's gonna make a file of maybe a lot more than size. So I'm gonna be on Adobe Media Encoder. So let's wait till it opens up. Okay, so here we are on Adobe Media Encoder, and let's go to Adobe After Effects, and do make sure that the file is saved. And sorry for all those voices, that just means some kind of my neighbors disturbing something with me. Okay, so that make sure it's saved. The icon shows you it's saved, and let's close this out. You do not need it anymore once it's done. And once you're in Adobe Media Encoder, just simply click on this plus icon here. Okay, so without clicking plus, it already came out here and it's up here, render, and make sure this is H.264 if you're having Intel, and match source, high bitrate, and we can still change that. Okay, so here it is. It shows the output with the source, and so here I'm gonna use this as export to video and all that, the video, and render at maximum depth if you want, but that's gonna increase the time. But I'm gonna keep the things as they are. I do not want it to be anything. Just you can use the maximum render quality, but it will increase the encoding time. Let's see what changed out here. It doesn't seem something. So I'm gonna and click on OK. So the last thing we have to do is make sure the status is ready and click on the start queue. And once that's done, it's gonna connect itself to eXMP and all the things. And let's wait out till it's completely off. Okay, so here we are, completely rendered, and when it shows done, it's completely done. So let's close this out and check what file we get. Okay, so a tip for you: before opening anything and doing anything, it's better to refresh your PC 10 to 15 times. That's gonna remove all the temporary you're having. Because generally when Adobe After FX does work and all that media is generated, it really makes a lot of temporary files. So let's go to where it was, material AME, and that's all the AME means, temporary file to save. And here's what we get. It's of 7.52 MB, and if you render it using Adobe After Effects, then I don't know what it's gonna create, but that's gonna be more than 1 GB, as much as I know. So here we are, and the best thing that you can do is to editing these things. You can see the quality is perfectly good, but to edit this video, for example, if you want to add sound effects, it's best to use Sony Vegas so that it doesn't lose its quality and will be perfect. So that was it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos and tutorials like this, do make sure to subscribe and hit like, and that's all for today. I'm FrostZTech and I'm signing out.